When we think of courage, we usually picture something loud, right? A big, bold, rebellious act. But what if the most powerful kind of courage is, well, quiet? We're going to dive into that idea and the real difference between a quick thrill and a lifetime of genuine strength.
It all boils down to this one question. Is courage really about breaking the rules just for the heck of it? Or is it about sticking to your values, especially when it's tough? The answer to that? Well, it changes everything.
And that's the heart of it, right there. True moral courage isn't some one-off event. Nope, it's a practice, a sustained effort. It's an investment you're making in the person you're trying to become.
So where do we even start with this investment? Well, it all begins with integrity. That's the absolute bedrock of a meaningful life.
I think Stephen Covey really nailed it. Integrity is just making sure what you do lines up with what you believe. It's not about being perfect all the time, but about being consistent. And the payoff for that investment? It's trust. But not the flashy, look-at-me kind of trust. It's that quiet, steady, reliable trust that forms the foundation of every single important relationship you have. Now, let's flip that for a second. Think about how easy it is to make a small, impulsive choice. To skip out on a commitment. It can feel like a little bit of freedom, right? A small act of rebellion that, in the grand scheme of things, feels like no big deal.
But here's the thing. These choices are never really just one-time things. Every single choice we make is either a building block for our character or a wrecking ball. And all those small compromises, they start to chip away at the one thing you've worked so hard to build. And that one thing is your reliability. When you have integrity, your reliability is solid. It's whole. People know, without a doubt, that they can count on you.
But then, a few poor choices creep in, and a crack appears. It might not look like much at first. You're still mostly reliable, but now there's just a tiny hint of doubt. The foundation has its first fracture.
And if those choices keep happening, the damage just spreads. Trust erodes completely, and you're left with this hollowed-out version of the reputation you once had. It's pretty wild how fast a series of small compromises can tear down something that took years to build.
Okay, so how does this really impact us? Because it's not just about what other people think, it cuts way deeper, affecting our inner peace and our connections with everyone around us.
The researcher Brené Brown has shown us over and over that real, authentic connection is built on trust and vulnerability. But you literally can't have either of those without a foundation of moral clarity, without actually knowing what you stand for.
So when we take those little shortcuts, we're not just messing with our reputation. We're creating these tiny fractures in our relationships. And maybe even more importantly, we create this growing conflict inside ourselves, this feeling of dissonance between the person we want to be and the person our actions show we are.
And this brings us to what might be the greatest reward of moral courage. Ultimately, it's not about what anyone else thinks of you. It's about building this powerful, unshakable core inside yourself.
Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, wrote about this so powerfully. He understood that when you make that hard moral choice, you're not just doing the right thing, you're protecting a type of inner dignity that no one and no thing can ever take away from you.
So, this is the choice we all face, every single day. It's the constant battle between that ordinary, impulsive kind of courage and the deep, lasting moral courage. And as Martin Luther King Jr. reminds us, the stakes here are incredibly high. Choosing not to stand for our values isn't some neutral decision. It's a slow fading away of who we truly are.
Let's just break this down side by side, because it's so clear when you see it like this. On one side, you've got ordinary courage. It's an impulse, a momentary spark. It's the voice that asks, just this once? But then you've got moral courage. That's a steady, lifelong flame. It's a thoughtful action that asks a much, much deeper question. Who do I want to be?
And here's the trade-off visualized. That impulsive choice, it gives you a big hit of comfort right away, sure. But look at the long-term strength. It's super low. The moral choice, on the other hand, is often pretty uncomfortable in the moment. But the payoff in long-term character and self-respect, it's massive.
So here's the most important point. We're not just making a choice for today. With every decision, we're choosing what kind of person we're becoming for a lifetime.
So, which are you chasing? Is it the momentary spark, that quick thrill of a bold, maybe thoughtless act? Or are you cultivating that lifelong flame, that quiet, enduring power
that only comes from being true to yourself day after day.
And let's be really clear about something. This is not about some rigid, impossible standard of perfection. It's actually way simpler than that. It's just about consistently making choices that, when you look back on them, allow you to feel a deep and honest respect for yourself.
Because in the end, the things that truly define us aren't the big, one-off acts of daring. They're the quiet moments, the moments when it is hardest to stay loyal to our values, and we choose to do it anyway.
And all of this leaves us with one final, very personal question. When the audience is gone, when there's absolutely no one to impress, and it's just you and your choices, who are you?